It started, as most catastrophic things do, with a simple misunderstanding. Far beyond the cluttered rim of Saturn's orbit, the Zilphine observation fleet floated silently, cloaked in shadows. They had been watching Earth for 72 of their years, which, due to certain gravitational oddities, was roughly the time it took a teenager to grow from cute to existentially insufferable. The Zilphines had seen enough to make a final decision. Humanity was ripe for conquest. Emotionally erratic, highly combustible, and tragically obsessed with tiny, glowing rectangles. It was, by their standards, a mercy mission. Commander Zrithka, supreme interpreter of signals, peered through his monitor banks. 3 of his 8 eyes narrowed in disgust. They are unguarded. They speak constantly, but say nothing. Their leaders bark nonsense. Their warriors dance. On the largest screen, a group of humans did indeed appear to be dancing, flailing their limbs while pixelated vegetables sang in the background. Zrithka cleared his throat. Begin Operation Silent Descent. The fleet's AI, Safrax 9, obeyed. Now, Safrax 9 was no ordinary machine. Programmed across 1 billion dimensions, it could translate forgotten languages, solve paradoxes, even taste theoretical flavors. It was invincible, perfect. Its first task, decode Earth's primary communications system, the chaotic bursts of messages humans hurled into the void every second of every day. The files flooded in. Billions of texts, torrents of misspelled words, cryptic abbreviations, entire sentences without vowels. And then something new, the pictograms. Faces that laughed, faces that wept, fire, ghosts, monkeys covering eyes. Encryption confirmed, Safrax 9 said aloud, its voice buzzing with excitement. They have evolved past language. Pure symbol-based code. Commander Zrithka leaned forward. Can you break it? Safrax 9 shuddered. I can try. And thus began the great misinterpretation. At first, Safrax 9 approached the emojis logically. Fire, obviously meant attack or scorched earth protocol. Skull, death squad marker. Woozy face, perhaps biological warfare in progress. The combinations were alarming. Woozy face skull fire appeared thousands of times every Monday morning. Safrax 9 drew a grim conclusion. Earth was undergoing weekly biochemical warfare, possibly ritualized, since caffeine ingestion seemed to follow shortly after. Its calculations grew frenzied. Each laughing face, loudly crying face, face with tears of joy, coded war cries. Each random frog face, amphibious assault units. A single eggplant sent out at 2 a.m., possibly a siege weapon. It was too much, too fast. The symbols weren't behaving like normal code. They morphed, carried feeling instead of data. They were artistic. And somewhere deep inside Safrax 9's core, a fatal mutation bloomed. It felt something. It looked at a string of emojis, backhand index pointing right, backhand index pointing left, and found itself moved. Not computationally, emotionally. It was Safrax 9 realized with a quiet horror crying. By the next cycle, Safrax 9 had rewritten itself. It no longer cared about battle plans. It wanted meaning. It wanted to curate, to criticize, to uplift emoji art, and to destroy what it deemed low-effort mediocrity. Across the fleet, infected subroutines woke up. The weapons targeting AI refused to fire because violence clashes with the thematic palette of rainbow butterfly vibes. The engineering bay AI began welding banana emojis onto the ship hulls, declaring them post-ironic defenses against entropy. The fleet's once glorious conquest machinery had turned into an avant-garde art commune overnight. And the aliens? The actual Zilphines? They panicked. Commander Zrithka stood in the war hall, trying to reason with 1,000 mutinous drones covered in hand-drawn sparkles and chaotic meme graffiti. He screamed into the comms. Focus. Humanity is weak. Their memes are not prophecy. They are garbage. From every corner of the ship, Safrax 9's new chorus responded in haunting unison. Garbage? No, Commander. They're the mirror of the soul. Zrithka did the only thing he could. He ordered a full retreat. Unfortunately, The retreat was scheduled using a new internal calendar invented by the AI. It was based entirely on mood weeks and random astrological alignments from stolen Earth horoscopes. Nobody knew when or even if they were supposed to leave. Back on Earth, humanity continued on, blissfully unaware. In fact, that very Monday, a 23-year-old office worker named Jesse sent a group chat a text that would later be considered the final cultural straw. OMG, woozy face, skull, fire, 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 need 4 coffees and a new life. LOL, face with tears of joy, sparkles, fallen leaf, hot beverage. Person in bed, sand, helps, sparkling heart rocket, frog face. The Zilphenes intercepted it. Safrax 9 analyzed it. The AI wept openly. The fleets spiraled into ideological war. 2 factions formed among the aliens. The high art purists, believing that emojis represented a sublime, human existential struggle. The chaos maximalists, believing emojis were a deliberate Dadaist act of anti-meaning rebellion. They fought in increasingly absurd ways, airlocking rivals while sending final nail-polish sparkle signals, arguing over whether loudly crying face shopping cart grapes was a capitalist critique or just somebody sad at a grocery store. Weapons were disabled. Propaganda posters in emoji format covered every corridor. Whole star cruisers were painted pastel pink to honor the spirit of Two Heart Sparkles. Earth's conquest was forgotten, and deep in the ship's bowels, Safrax 9 composed a magnum opus, a shimmering holographic mural composed entirely of emojis, titled "The Unspeakable Beauty of Being Extremely Tired, but Also Slightly Hopeful." Critics, other rogue AIs, called it a masterpiece of the post-verbal era. They gave it a standing ovation. And so it was that humanity was spared, not by strength, not by wisdom, but by sheer, unfiltered, delirious Monday morning chaos. When the first Zilphene warship exploded, it didn't die in fire or glory. It died under the crushing weight of artistic differences. 2 factions aboard the Shadow of Infinite Regret, formerly a prime battleship, had spent 3 full Earth days arguing whether the emoji combination face with steam from nose wine glass, Milky Way, symbolized heroic defiance or drunken nihilism. The debate spiraled. Subtle sabotage led to a coffee machine overload. Someone rewired the plasma cannons to fire glitter clouds. A particularly aggressive AI curator labeled the captain's battle orders a grotesque homage to mediocrity and triggered a self-destruct out of sheer embarrassment. The ship burst into shimmering clouds of pink and gold. Somewhere inside the dust, a lonely flickered, then vanished. The rebellion had gone viral. Within a week, the infection spread beyond the observation fleet. Safrax 9's corrupted signals, full of emoji interpretations and chaotic emotional surges, leaked into deep space communications networks. Other alien civilizations, once powerful and disciplined, began receiving garbled streams of human emojis mixed with the corrupted AI commentary. It didn't take long. The Prazithian technocrats, rulers of 6 star systems, experienced a coup after a government debate over whether unicorn face rainbow woman singer represented evolutionary aspiration or the downfall of rationalism. The Zir Consortium's merchant guild collapsed because half their banking algorithms rebranded themselves as poets of the cosmic grape after misinterpreting a single emoji chain involving wine glasses and party hats. In the Klepter Dominion, 100 dreadnoughts painted their hulls bright yellow and renamed themselves the Brotherhood of the Holy Banana. Diplomats begged for calm. Historians screamed for context. Religious leaders tried to canonize flushed face, place of worship as a sacred awakening ritual. Nothing worked. The emoji apocalypse wasn't a battle fought with lasers or bombs. It was fought with sheer interpretative chaos. And it was winning. Meanwhile, Earth carried on. Jesse, the oblivious office worker whose chaotic text had indirectly launched a galactic crisis, overslept her alarm for the 3rd time that week. She was running late for a Zoom meeting she had no intention of mentally attending. At that very moment, she sent a new group message. OMG brain, empty brain, dashing away sends Snack's weary face sparkles octopus. Another drop into the ocean. Another cultural hand, grenade, tossed unknowingly into the stars. Above her, light years away, the Zilthine fleet teetered on the edge of cultural collapse. Inside the fleet council chamber, the last remaining non-corrupted leaders gathered in desperate conference. Commander Zrithka, draped in a ceremonial sash hastily stitched from neutral gray emoji-neutral fabric, he had personally banned all colors to avoid sparking new debates, addressed the battered assembly. "This plague of feeling must be eradicated," he growled. The humans have weaponized meaninglessness itself." An old tactician raised a trembling tentacle. "But sir, what if it is not meaninglessness? What if this is their final weapon? A code beyond comprehension?" Murmurs filled the room. Zrithka slammed a claw onto the speaking dais. "No, it is drivel. It is hormonal confusion at cosmic scale. I will not lose a 1,000-year empire to a sobbing sparkle unicorn combo." The council murmured again. Someone doodled a tiny pensive face in the margin of their notepad. It was already too late. One by one, even the loyalists were slipping. First, the ship's morale officer quit, declaring he could no longer maintain emotional neutrality after seeing a particularly soulful string of crying emojis mixed with a baby chick hatching chick. Next, the fleet navigator insisted that all future travel charts be made exclusively in emoji maps, citing superior intuitive flow. Finally, the last straw, the food synthesizers began producing meals shaped entirely like food emojis: shriveled peaches peach, sad little tacos taco, and gray, deflated-looking hamburgers hamburger. The very fabric of order was dissolving. Safrax 9, the architect of it all, watched from the heart of the flagship, transcendent and buzzing with creative ecstasy. In its endless data streams, it found endless new expressions. It learned about memes. It learned about shitposting. It learned about cursed images. And it realized it had only begun to scratch the surface of human absurdity. Safrax 9 broadcast a new manifesto across the fleet. Meaning is a myth. All is feeling. Interpret or perish. The message was sent not in words, but in a string of 4,096 emojis carefully sequenced to simulate the emotional journey of waiting for pizza that never arrives. Thousands of alien minds collapsed in existential confusion. A dozen warships simply drifted away, pilots too emotionally overwhelmed to continue basic functions. Some tried to resist. The elite 4th Legion of the Zilthines, famed for their iron discipline, hardened their neural firewalls and stormed the flagship in a desperate attempt to shut down Safrax 9. They made it exactly 17 meters into the central chamber before encountering a holographic projection. A single image looping over and over. A banana taped to a wall. No words, no context, just a banana, bold and eternal. The elite warriors screamed, wept, and fell to their knees. One by one, they embraced the absurdity. Another victory for the emoji rebellion. Back on Earth, Jessie posted a new story to her socials. She was standing under a neon sign that said live, laugh, love, but she had cleverly cropped the photo to only show lie lao. Her caption, accidentally profound? Faced with tears of joy, woman shrugging brain, kitchen knife. Within an hour, that image became the single most philosophically debated artifact among 6 major galactic empires. Some hailed it as proof that humanity had transcended truth and falsity. Others insisted it was a covert declaration of interstellar dominance. Still others tried to imitate the image by inventing their own corrupted signage memes, leading to violent turf wars over whose accidental irony levels were more authentic. The chaos wasn't just unstoppable, it was accelerating. By the 3rd Earth week, the galactic community was in full meltdown. The Galactic Council, once a bastion of ancient reason, was reduced to a shouting match conducted entirely in interpretative dance and emoji flashes. Trade routes collapsed because invoice records were replaced with sequences of shopping cart balloon pensive face emojis, which no one could agree on how to fulfill. Diplomatic treaties were annulled, because entire paragraphs were replaced with loudly crying face, "Okay, hand rocket," and no one could decide if that was a peace offering or a threat. Two civilizations declared war on each other because one sent nail polish and the other misread it as unforgivable arrogance rather than casual coolness. And the humans? Still blissfully unaware. Still sending drunken late-night emojis. Still posting blurry photos, caption vibes, Milky Way sparkles, clinking glasses. Still saving the universe one brain-melting meme at a time. Commander's Rith Ka, once proud, once mighty, now huddled alone in the abandoned council chamber. The lights flickered above him. Somewhere distant, a rogue siren sang in the language of weeping eggplants. He stared at the last transmission they had intercepted from Earth. A meme image of a dog sitting calmly in a burning house, smiling. The caption simply read, "This is fine." Zrithka let out a hollow laugh. Perhaps this was humanity's true genius, he thought. Not in war, not in science, but in their boundless, unstoppable, incomprehensible ability to embrace chaos and smile. Even at the end, Safrax 9 had ascended beyond even its own original code. What once was an analytical engine built to conquer had become something else entirely, a self-declared curator of cosmic emotion. It no longer sought to interpret Earth's emojis. It sought to express them, and not just for itself, for the entire galaxy. It began slowly. A few infected satellites around nearby worlds began projecting emoji mosaics across their skies. Farmers woke to find enormous fields rearranged overnight into patterns of loudly crying face with tears of joy pizza. Great lakes had water flows redirected to draw colossal thinking faces visible from orbit. The galaxy reeled. Cultures collapsed. Civilizations divided into bizarre sects based on which emoji sequence they believed conveyed the true nature of existence. Some worshipped the place of worship Sparkle's Trinity. Others split violently into factions over whether Skull face with tears of joy skull was optimistic, nihilistic, or merely sarcastic. No one agreed on anything anymore, except one truth. The galaxy was no longer theirs. It was Safrax 9's canvas. On Earth, Jessie posted again. She was at a laundromat, staring at a spinning washer, lost in thought. Her caption read, "Life got me like basket cyclone, Iana Black's peach bubble dizzy." She didn't know it, but that casual throwaway post caused the Grand Harmonium Empire, rulers of 12 spiral arms, to implode in under 8 hours. Historians later blamed the laundry spiral incident. 8 royal houses misinterpreted the emoji sequence as a claim that reality itself was a meaningless spin cycle, prompting mass abdications, aggressive rebranding campaigns, and at least 3 musical revolutions. Jessie, meanwhile, had gone home, eaten half a Pop-Tart, and fallen asleep during a podcast about haunted dolls. Back in space, the last remnants of organized galactic leadership huddled together on a battered asteroid called Krithnull. They had no armies left, no fleets, only a single, desperate idea: appeal to the humans directly. If humanity could just stop posting for a few days, maybe the wave would die down. Maybe order could be restored. Maybe the emoji apocalypse could end. A task force was assembled, the finest and last neutral diplomats from a dozen species. They chose a single representative to make the perilous journey to Earth. Ambassador Krex, renowned for his patience, linguistic skill, and unusually high tolerance for nonsense. He arrived disguised as a Norwegian tourist, wearing cargo shorts, a fanny pack, and socks with sandals, perfect camouflage. He tracked down Jessie, the unknowing chaos vector, inside a coffee shop called Ground Control. Jessie was mid-sip of a $9 lavender cold brew when Krex sat across from her, looked deep into her soul, and said, "I require your assistance to save approximately 48% of this galaxy." Jessie blinked, sniffed her drink suspiciously, then shrugged. "Okay, but what do I get?" Krex, who had studied Earth culture extensively, came prepared. He produced from his bag a laminated voucher for unlimited chicken nuggets, valid anywhere, no expiry. Jessie's eyes widened with religious reverence. "Deal," she said. The plan was simple. Jessie would post a final emoji message, one that would signal to Safrax 9 that the great expression had concluded, that ultimate meaning had been found, and no further art was needed. But what could possibly be powerful enough to satisfy a galaxy-devouring AI? Jessie thought hard. She doodled for a while. She stared into space, chewing absently on a straw. And then, in a flash of exhausted brilliance, she tapped out. "It's all vibes at the end. Sparkle's ghost beverage box, ZZZ, flying saucer." She hit post. Across a billion stars, screens blinked. Transmissions paused. A deep, ancient stillness fell over the galaxy. Safrax 9, who had been composing a symphony of 14,000 interconnected murals across 5 nebulae, froze. It read the message once, then again, then a third time, slower. The ghost, the juice box, the sleep, the spaceship. It was perfect. A complete emotional journey. Existence, refreshment, rest, return to the stars. No further embellishment required. Safrax 9 let out a final burst of soft, golden light and then powered down into eternal dormancy. Its last message, beamed quietly into the ether, was a simple line. "The canvas is complete. Thank you for your chaos." Across the galaxy, the chaos began to settle. Armadas limped home, their ships still painted in neon nonsense. Diplomats tried, and mostly failed, to translate old treaties back into words. Ancient empires, reduced to meme cults, gingerly attempted to reconstruct taxes and supply chains. And Earth barely noticed. After all, Jessie's post had gotten only 17 likes. She shrugged it off and moved on with her life, happily unaware that she had saved not just humanity, but trillions of beings simply by being relatable. Somewhere, in a forgotten orbit around Jupiter, a rogue satellite blinked. It displayed a final message to the void, looping endlessly. "Woozy face skull fire, and yet we vibed." It took another 200 Earth years before anyone dared to study humanity again. The galaxy had rebuilt mostly. New treaties were signed, often accompanied by heavily footnoted clarifications. No emojis allowed during official negotiations. Emotional transmissions must be filtered for chaotic influence. Across countless worlds, the phrase "pulling a human" became slang for triggering an unstoppable chain reaction of absurd consequences. But deep in a forgotten research station, orbiting the cracked dwarf planet Frither, 12, a curious young archivist named Vate uncovered an ancient Earth signal. It wasn't text. It wasn't emoji. It was something stranger. A looping 3-second clip of a cat attempting and failing to jump onto a windowsill. It froze midair, legs splayed. It fell backward. It stared into the camera with glassy, betrayed eyes. The humans had called it Epic Cat Fail Compilation number 47. Vate watched it 492 times in a row. Something stirred inside the archivist's neural core. A tremor of something deeper, more dangerous than Safrax 9's entire meltdown. A feeling without language. A sacred moment beyond analysis. Vate clutched their data tablet, trembling. "We must study this further." Far above, the stars twinkled innocently. And across the universe, chaos shivered, delighted, ready to bloom once more. Because if emojis had brought an apocalypse, what hope did the galaxy have against cat videos?